If we ever forget that we're one nation under God, then we will be a nation going under.
Where we are no longer a Christian nation.
I believe God is trying to say to this nation, I'm giving you one last merciful call.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Revelation in the News. I'm your host, Zach Drew.
And I'm Sasha Vols.
Well, we're going to go over an absolutely incredible word, an interesting prophetic word today from Prophet Rick Joyner. But before that, we want to give you an encouraging word. As you know, we do several TV shows here at this ministry, including another show called The Jim Baker Show that Sasha and I are both co-hosts for Pastor Jim and Lori Baker. Now, what's incredible is we've been dedicating this show and that show for the past several months. We've been very election-minded. Well, guess what? It all paid off. Donald Trump, President-elect Donald Trump, gave our pastor, Pastor Jim, a call for actually over 20 minutes, this week, saying that, hey, he watches the show, he's very impressed, and he wanted to thank Pastor Jim and the ministry for all that we did to help him get elected. How incredible is that?
It truly is such an incredible thing because it shows his integrity. Not only did he win the presidency now, but now he actually called back Pastor Jim just to thank him and say, thank you for doing everything that you did to help get me elected. That's something that he never had to do, and it just shows his true heart and his integrity in this.
And we just want to thank you as our viewers of all the shows here that, listen, you tuned in, you watched, and you took to heart some of the things that you were hearing. And, Revelation News, we really do want to be one of your homes for alternative news, and we want to encourage you to go and like our Facebook page and everywhere we're at, and our YouTube, and even follow Sasha and I on Twitter. We have different accounts that we just post different things. So I want to encourage you just to stay tuned in because we do give live updates of what's happening in the world on our social media platforms. But let's dig into this word from Rick Joyner. It's a cool word. It's a very interesting word, and it's a word from a different perspective, that's for sure, and I like it. Here it goes. Word from Rick Joyner, Prophet Rick Joyner. Patriotism is going to win, not just in America, but around the world. What does that mean, he says? Now, that was a word that he gave a couple of years ago, that patriotism around the world is going to win. Now, he goes on by saying, for one thing, it means, this is key, we are going to recover our heritage and our history. That's a powerful statement. In Scripture, we're actually told that God created the nations and gave them boundaries. God created them and gave them boundaries, okay? We are told that there will be a serious judgment that will come upon anyone who moves the ancient boundaries. And why? Now, we're going to get back to his word in just a moment because I want to break this down really quickly. It says he believes that America is going to recover our heritage and our history. Now, what's crazy is that means that someday, maybe soon rather than later, who knows when it's going to happen, but if this word is accurate, which I believe it is, that means that there's going to be a massive shift taking place in our educational system. I mean, right now, the things that our high schools and our elementary schools and obviously our universities, our public universities are teaching today, you would honestly think that America is founded on three basic things: sexism, bigotry, and racism. Now, what's crazy is that means that there's going to be a massive change coming to our educational system. Now, here's another point. Sasha and I, we do a lot of research, and we have a great team around us that helps us format articles. And over the past couple of years, we've literally ended up formatting thousands of different articles. And here's just a few different articles over the past 2 years that just explain to you the dire shape that our educational process is in right now. Here's an article: "School scorched," little pun there, "for having kids bow down to the sun god." Another article: "Expert, government schools are destroying belief in Christianity."
Another one: "Muslim call to prayer can be chanted every Friday at Duke University."
Wow.
Another one: "Professor bans college students from saying 'bless you' in class."
That's crazy. Bless you. You can't
Just
even say,
to think,
yes.
after somebody sneezes in class, just your automatic response would be, "Oh, God bless you," or "bless you," even if you don't say God. And that is even banned in some universities, some classes.
You know, here's another article just from the past couple of years. Banned, school drops musical version of Lord's Prayer from graduation. Now, you got to understand this particular school that they had been doing this for over 70 years, and it was completely dropped from the graduation. Another one, school cancels America Day. They cancel America Day. Now, you got to understand this word from Rick Joyner said, we're going to recover our heritage and our history. You know, the school systems today are anti-America. And I do believe it's because of the left globalist agenda that has infiltrated our schools and our universities, because guess what? Nationalism stands in the way of a new world order. Nationalism stands in the way of a global government. Why? Because nationalism, the love for your country, if you love America, then you're not going to be for a new world order. If you love America, then you're not going to be in favor of dishing out our power to all the other countries throughout the world. That's socialism. You're not going to be in favor of that. That's why the schools don't teach nationalism today. That's why they don't teach love for America and patriotism. And so school cancels American Day. Now, what it was at this school is during homecoming week, I know we did things like this. They have a day every homecoming week where it was dedicated unto America. And people would dress up in the American flag and everything, but America Day says in the article, was part of a homecoming tradition at the high school, and students would show up to class either waving flags or wearing red and white and blue, but it was considered offensive for other students that didn't consider themselves American. So you couldn't even celebrate the country that you're living in this particular school. A massive change is going to have to take place for this prophetic word to come true, and I believe this word is true.
Well, and you're wondering why. Why is it mattering about schools? Why does it matter about these college students, these high school students? Because, they're going to grow up and they'll find out the right way later on. But that's the thing. Going after students that are in high school, college, even elementary school age kids, that's the foundation of everything they're learning right now. School is the foundation of everything that they're learning outside of their home. And so if you can instill all of these things in these children and these high school students and college age people that are growing up right now, by the time that they become adults, they have this mentality, and it's not going to be changed easily. They have this globalistic mentality that says, well, America doesn't matter. America's only evil. They've only gotten into everybody else's wars. They've only started wars. They've only hurt people. They've only stolen land. That is the America that is painted from schools nowadays. And so by the time they grow up, they're the newscasters. They're the politicians. They're the people in charge of our nation. And they have that mentality. So right now, this is such a major deal because these are the people that are going to be molding and shaping our United States in the years to come. So we have to pray that this gets removed, this gets shifted, this gets changed, and that Rick Joyner's word does come to pass, because this is such a monumental moment, a pivotal moment. It's a shift because these are the students that will grow up to mold our country. So we have to pray for them.
Here's another article. It says professors, and this is actually from this week, professors call founding fathers terrorists. And the founding ideals that, America was founded on, it's just a big fabrication. It's an exaggeration. It says within the article, a humanities course currently taught at the University of Colorado teaches that the founding fathers were hypocrites. They are terrorists and basically just money-hungry people who used hyperbole and fear to rile up the colonists to revolt against England. It says the Resistance and Revolution class is co-taught by a history lecturer and a sociology instructor who also suggests that Mikhail Gorbachev, not Ronald Reagan, who brought down the collapse of the Soviet Union, and that wealthy CEOs deserve to be in a moral prison, among many other assertions. Now, you see, this is what, like you said, Sasha, this is what's happening. Whenever you look at the riots, whenever you look at, what was it? It was over 50% of millennials were in complete support of socialism, where over 25% of them were indifferent over communism. What the heck? Like, where in the world are they getting this information? The school systems.
Yeah.
You see, what happened was, I'm in agreement with Dr. Lance Wall now. You see, these protesters of the 60s and 70s, these believers in Marxism, because that's really what they believe in, these protesters became professors. The protesters became professors, and those professors in the universities became evangelists. Because what's the goal of an evangelist? Is to create converts. And that's what they're doing. The professors in the universities are simply evangelists creating converts to believe like-minded with what they believe in. And that's why we're seeing these crazy riots that are sponsored by other, one world globalists like George Soros. This is what's taking place right now in America. So let's go back to Rick Joyner's word. That means we're going to recover our heritage and our history. Well, that also means that a massive shift is going to be taking place in our educational system, which I thoroughly look forward to. Let's continue with his word. In Scripture, we're told that God created nations and gave them boundaries, and we're told that there will be a serious judgment that will come upon anyone who moves these ancient boundaries. Why? Every culture and ethnic group is precious to the Lord, and it should be to us. When it was written that man was created in God's image, it meant mankind was created in his image. And it takes all of the diversity in all of mankind to accurately reflect him. That's awesome. We must protect this diversity. The ultimate unity is a unity of diversity, not a unity of conformity. How awesome. There's a reason, he says, there's a reason why the TV series Roots was so popular. It was a powerful revelation of how our identity is connected to our heritage and history. This is a precious treasure that must be preserved for all people. Mm-hmm. This being realized, again, is going to result in many positives, especially renewed vision for the nations. However, anything taken to an extreme will lead to bad consequences. Now, this is where it gets interesting because, there's no teaching of nationalism in American schools, especially the universities today. But he's saying, listen, there's got to be balance as well. You can't be overly nationalistic to the crazy extreme because, hey, that's kind of nationalism is what rose for Hitler to become in power. But he says, listen, you can't be extremely liberal as well. Let's go on with this word. It says, however, anything taken to an extreme will lead to bad consequences. The biggest struggle, the biggest battles, and the most devastation in World War II came from the struggle between two socialist ideologies. National socialism and communism. Communism is extreme socialism based on globalism, and National socialism was based on extreme nationalism, the extreme glorification of Germany and Germans. The horrors of communism is why so many people fear anything that leans towards globalism. So you have extreme liberalism that creates globalism, which gives you communism, and then you have on the other end the extreme right, which is extreme nationalism, which is National Socialism, which is what Hitler was in World War II. So It's a really interesting. I love this word. It's just a different perspective. It says we must not. Let's go here. The horrors of communism is why so many people fear anything that leads to globalism. And the horrors of the Nazis is why many fear anything that leans towards nationalism. We must not forget the lessons of what evil can come from, taking either of these to an extreme. But nationalism will win in the future. I am a religious and political conservative, Rick says, but I try to always keep in mind that it was the religious conservatives that had Jesus crucified. Conservatism has its place in bringing stability to society, but taken to an extreme, it can be deadly. The founding fathers that I am committed to honoring were the liberals of their time. Therefore, I want to honor the liberal thought that has not been taken to an extreme or corrupted, shackled, or even destroyed by the thought police using political correctness. The extreme left is just as dangerous as the extreme right, as both seek to dictate and dominate. But true liberalism and true conservatism will promote freedom. I know, let's conclude with this. I know that patriotism or nationalism is going to win. But if it destroys liberal thought, we will have all lost our greatest treasure, liberty. Wow. An eagle needs a right wing and a left wing to fly, and neither can say that it does not need the other. So let's just keep that in perspective. I know that Rick Joyner is a conservative, but I do think that he is a little bit more in the purple. He's right middle, and I believe that it's an incredible perspective. Listen, we do need, you can't be extreme on either side. Obviously, we went from one extreme left. We were in the ditch on the left side with extreme liberals that have come to power and wrecked this nation. Now, we can't, whenever you're in a car, you can't overcorrect. You can't just go extreme the other way because what happens? You are in a ditch on the right side of the road now. It's being in the middle. And obviously, I am more right, but we do need two wings to fly this bird.
That's right. And really just looking at this word, this is such a powerful word, and I hope you're dissecting it along with us, because realistically, when you think about it, you can't, like Zach just said, you can't just be one-minded. You can't just be a whole nation collected, one-minded, because then you have this movement going towards just one direction. When it's a nation, it has to be diverse. So you have to look at it from both sides, but it has to be this common where you can come to the middle. We can be able to see from the middle what both sides are saying, what both sides are thinking, and come to a conclusion in the middle that benefits both sides. It can't be just one way or another. We are a nation united, not divided.
That's right. Now, this is we really wanted to dissect that word today, and now that we're done with that word, I just want to give one more piece of news for today before we leave the broadcast, and it was Planned Parenthood was in the news this week. Sasha, did you see that story?
I did, and I actually have it right here. It says, Planned Parenthood's post-election plea, help us fight for our lives.
The irony.
It's like that headline alone was so appalling. Just hearing those words from Planned Parenthood pleading to the American people saying, help us fight for our life when we are killing 60 million babies in our nation. But let me go on. It goes, Planned Parenthood is begging supporters to pledge to fight for our lives after Donald Trump won the election this past election season, promising to defund the abortion giants and appoint pro-life Supreme Court justices.
That's right. And it even goes on and says, Planned Parenthood President Cecil Richards told supporters in an email that whenever Trump became president, he says this, the president of Planned Parenthood, Trump could send our country back decades, undoing so much of the progress we've made, including to outlaw abortion. Now, Planned Parenthood's most recent annual report revealed that during 2014 and 2015, the fiscal year, it performed over 323,000 abortions and received $553 million from U.S. taxpayers. The organization received what critics say could be its death blow last year after a series of undercover videos allegedly revealed the abortion provider trafficking aborted baby body parts. Now, so obviously, President of the Planned Parenthood does have a right to fear. And to think that he actually said Trump could set our country back decades, undoing so much of the progress we've made, including to outlaw abortion. Now, I would obviously say, wonderful, great, that's awesome. It actually reminds me of a C.S. Lewis quote on progress. Because you see, in a conservative's mind today, when we hear the word progressive, we just nix it. We just like, I don't want to hear what the progressives are doing. But the root word of progressive is progress, making forward movement. And progress is a wonderful thing. But progress in the wrong direction is not progress. And C.S. Lewis actually commented on this, and I'm just reminded because this president of the Planned Parenthood said, listen, he could set us back decades from all the progress we've made. It's not progress. Listen to this quote. C.S. Lewis, we all want progress. But if you're on the wrong road, progress means doing an about turn and walking back to the right road. In that case, the man who turns back soonest is the most progressive. I mean, that's a twist. That's a twisting because of all the political correctness and how they twist words today. So really, what that means is Donald Trump is actually the most progressive leader we probably have.
Absolutely. And honestly, if you look at the progress, if you're just taking it from the progress standpoint, think about where your root was. Think about where the origin of this all became from. Planned Parenthood was founded by Margaret Sanger, who was a woman who did not believe in the black race. She wanted to annihilate the black race, and she actually formed Planned Parenthood as a sector of the KKK. And so if you actually look at what Planned Parenthood originally stood for, that's the origin. So progressively moving forward from that in the wrong direction with Planned Parenthood, you see, okay, well then what does that mean? That means that they're actually succeeding with what they originally intended to do, which is wipe out the minority, to give abortions. If you look at, and actually even if you pull it up on your own map, look up where abortion clinics are actually located. You will find so many more, like major percentages more in African American communities, ghettos, anywhere that is literally, it's a minorities area, minority-based area, you'll find tons of Planned Parenthoods. But if you look in other areas which aren't typically minority-based, you'll see that there's not that many, and you'll actually have to drive. If you were in an area like that, if you were trying to seek out an abortion in a white upper-class neighborhood, you actually have to drive out of your way to get to an abortion clinic. But if you go into a ghetto or a hood or anything like that, you will find that there's tons, almost on every single corner, or every few blocks you'll find another one. You'll find an access to it, and they promote it in those areas.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, so going back to Rick Joyner's word, a lot of change is coming. But I do want to say, as we end the broadcast today, that like we've said, we've got a reprieve, that there is a time of seemingly peace that we're in right now. But I do believe a lot more shaking is coming. Why? Mm-hmm. Because, well, I'm a fundamentalist, and I believe the word of God is true and accurate. And we are in the end times, and shaking is going to come, but now is the time to get ready. It's time to get ready spiritually. It's time to get prepared physically and getting food and filtration bottles and all this type of stuff. It's time to be ready, because I do believe the world is going to shake. Yes. Well, this has been Revelation in the News. We'll see you next week.